You're listening to WBHM, Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 45 minutes after the hour. And just like that, we're back with Shelly Covington-Montana. Y'all just welcome her, and thank y'all for being here with us. I am sorry I had to interrupt you, Shelly.
That's okay. No worries.
Well, would you like to continue?
I've dealt with a lot of... Of course. I've dealt with a lot worse in the field, so no worries whatsoever. It's totally fine. I'm having a great time, and I appreciate anybody that's here to listen and even consider my opinion. So,
well, we had someone over in the WBHM chat who was having trouble with her feed on her phone, so she's, I think, moved over to the Spreaker, and she is someone who is new to the field and is just through hiking and experiencing and finding things. She's been sending me some photographs, and it's amazing the things that she sees up in Wisconsin.
Uh-huh.
And she sent me one thing that looked like a shelter, like a built shelter.
Right.
I was like, well, is there a homeless guy there? But no one could have survived those temperatures. You know, no, it would have been so difficult.
But
it's just interesting.
Have to start, right. So let's talk about a shelter. What we have to understand and what we have to start really looking into is, what was that shelter made of? And how old is that shelter? Because different wood, let's just talk about trees, which I study trees, and how long does it take a tree to rot? Depending on the tree, there is a huge difference. So here in Texas, we have a lot of mesquite trees, we have a lot of oak trees, we have a lot of redwood trees, cedar trees. So a cedar tree is a tree that is known to pioneers to last hundreds and hundreds of years. And it was used to build fences as well as homes, simply because of how long it lasted. So you have to look, that's where I talk about complacency and people being complacent with what they think they know. Because what we think we know is, let's say on a graph, if we did a pie graph, what we think we know is about an eighth of that pie. What we know we don't know is maybe about not even a third of that pie. But what we really don't know is going to be more than 3/4 of that pie. So what I try to tell people is, when you find something like that, you need to really go in and research everything about that piece of quote unquote evidence that you think you have found. So in a tree structure, I would be looking at what kind of wood was made through that tree structure. What is the longevity of that wood? Look at the cover. You know, most likely it was covered with branches of foliage. And why would a Bigfoot need to make a tree structure? Every report I've ever gotten, and I'm part of the BFRO, which means I see, so BFRO only publishes probably 25% of the reports we get. I see reports that every report I've ever seen of a Bigfoot sleeping in the woods or just laying down in the woods. He didn't have a tree structure. He didn't come out of a structure. Why would he need that? What people are doing in that aspect, in my opinion, is they are implying human behavior. Like, Bigfoot needs cover. Why does he need cover? He doesn't even wear clothes or shoes, and he walks around in the snow. So why would he need? I mean, maybe he does, but that has never been proven in any of the stories throughout history. And we've got history of Bigfoot, Sasquatch-like creatures all the way back to the Vikings. So they never talked about that. But today, everybody wants to imply these human behaviors on the Sasquatch. Well, if he was human, why isn't he paying taxes and living in the city and building fires? That's the way I look at it. So when you find something that you consider as evidence, you need to go to you need to just really indulge yourself into that piece of evidence and find out everything you can outside of the Bigfoot community, into the scientific community of everything that you feel is part of the evidence you're looking at.
Interesting. I had wondered about the structures also, but then again, nobody ever finds nests or other things.
Right.
Like,
why would that be? I don't understand. If this creature isn't wearing clothing, then why does he need? So let's look at bear. So bear hibernate. Not all bear hibernate, and not all bear hibernate every year. It depends on the weather. So, and when they do, it's simply to slow down their metabolism, and because the temperatures are so low that they need to hibernate to conserve energy because they can't find enough food to maintain their body weight. These creatures have never been known or proven to hibernate. So why would they build structure? That is a lot of calories being burned to build a structure, be it for a sign that they're in, some people believe they built structures to say, this is my area. Some people believe they built structures to say, this is the way we went. I think all of that is people trying to justify their ignorance of what they think they know, that they don't really know because they don't go outside of their own knowledge and research to imply I have Bigfoot in my area.
Well, this particular individual is seeking answers. When she came across that, she was puzzled and fascinated because it was so interesting.
Well, but she
and
also,
unexpected.
I guarantee you, if she's in an area and she found a structure, I build structures when I go into areas all the time. So why didn't she think it was? And I'm not trying to down your guest or your follower at all, but in general, this happens a lot. People have either seen it on a Bigfoot site that Bigfoot builds structures, or they find them odd. Boy Scouts do it all the time.
Well, she
People
had been there like the day
do it all
before
the
or the
time.
weekend of, and there was nothing there.
Well,
And then all of a
still
sudden,
doesn't-
there was something there, and it just took her by surprise, I think, because she has just started investigating cryptid type of things anyway. So she was just like, that is so weird. It was not there. And I said, well.
But it only takes, for an experienced bushcraftman, it only takes about 2 hours to build a structure.
Well, cool. I hope she's listening so that she can go back and look at her photographs and see that. I am interested because Kevin has moved over to the WBHM chat and said that But the tree structures and shelters are hearsay relevant to the behavior of Bigfoot, and the Sasquatch are mobile. Are all Sasquatch mobile? Do they not have family units that slow them down doing that? Or is there anything indicative of that?
So unless we see one do those things, we can't claim that that's what they do. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
It's interesting and it's cool. And, I would love for it to be all those things. But that's my opinion, or your listener's opinion, or Kevin's opinion, or somebody's opinion. I can't put my opinion. My opinion really has zero to do
right.
with
exactly,
Bigfoot
because you're
research.
seeking evidence.
Right.
Of behaviors.
So, exactly. We have never, ever, there is no recorded anywhere where anybody has ever seen a Bigfoot build a structure of any type.
But if I think we've got that. But what about nesting or the family units thing? Is there any evidence relevant to what I would guess based on scat and stuff? Are they, because they would have to do something or they would have died out. There has to be some interaction.
Well, as far as family units, I'm sure there's some. I believe, so I have recordings that I've experienced myself, my own encounter.
Right.
Which in all the years I've done this, I've had 2 major encounters in one area 6 days apart, and I saw it. And I had tree knocks, and I should have sent those to you, and you probably could have played them. I had tree knocks that were coming from either side of me for 2 days. And actually these creatures or whatever was doing, and I think they were tree knocks because I understand wood on wood, and I did a couple of days of working on all kinds of trees with all kinds of different objects, from rock to pine trees to cedar trees, hitting certain objects.
Right.
And I had more than one entity knocking back and forth, and I'm in the middle for hours on end for 3 days. And as far as family units, well, of course, I believe I don't know if they're family units. What I believe, which has no evidence to it, but just over time and what I've seen and what I've heard and what I've investigated, I believe probably there is a male you've got a female and a male who have a baby. And I think that male hangs out until that baby is a certain age, and then he moves on. I don't really believe that they stay as a family unit throughout their lives.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that that they are all motivated by instinctual behavior, by spreading the gene. I believe they only mate probably every 4 to 6 years, like all great apes do. So this is one of the things, and I'll just kind of throw this out there, and it's just my opinion. There's no facts to it. But what I've been looking at is the overall, I've been looking at where you have clusters of sightings and calls, let's say. And it seems, so let's say there's a place that has a couple of sightings, or